Wonder Woman wannabe mother is back. Hey, hi. Welcome to my channel. Hi, I am Shar, and I'm your recap auntie. And we back, baby. We is back. We is back with Beauty in Black. We are back. I was a little late the last time it was on the first half of the season, the first 8 episodes, but I finished them all. I was so proud of myself. And that was my first time starting to review things. And I was like, okay, let me hopefully they come back, and they're back. They came back on March the 6th. I'm a little, a couple days late, but just know that I'm not a binge watcher. I'm really not, because I don't have time. But what I will do is that my shows, or when I'm gonna do my reviews of this particular show, will be dropping every Sunday. So today is Sunday, March 9th. I'm doing the first one. This is episode number 10, Blind Rage. And I'm going to be doing it every Sunday until I complete it, because again, I'm doing a show. If you don't know, if you're new to my channel, hey, I've just rebranded myself. I was known as something else, but now I do recaps of shows. So I am Shar, your recap auntie. Last year you knew me as real review reactions or real reviews, that long ass name, but no, this one I'm recaps. I love how the way I give recaps, I put it in my own colorful words, and I tell you how I see it from my point of view. Okay. So last time when I was doing these reviews, you had some people like, well, sis, if you just cut back on the language a little bit. Look, I am 54 years old this year, and my parents are gone to glory. They up there. I know before my mammy left here 2 years ago almost, she liked it that I was me. I used language, and she thought it was funny. So I'm not going to fill it this whole video with that type of language, but there are some pieces that they be cussing in it too. And Tyler cuss. And he got Miss Debbie Morgan cussing, and he got everybody cussing. So if I feel like I'm going to say the word, I'm going to say the word. Now, there is some language that I know that's not YouTube friendly that I will try my hardest to avoid to say. I'll just use another word for it, because some subjects are very sensitive, and I'm very, very mindful of that. But otherwise, I'm grown. I just had to do this little church announcements before we start doing these reviews, because some people are real sensitive when it comes to language, and I get that. I used to be like that. I used to be just like that, but I'm grown. I use it in my normal average life. That's who I am. You can't come over here and tell me what to do, because a view is still a view, and that's me. So, but those of you who are new here and you don't know who I am. Hi, I'm Shar. Thank you so much for coming by. I've been talking for almost 3 damn minutes. So let's get started. If you don't know, I give the Moo review, which means that I watch all of my shows wearing all of my Moo. Sometimes you might see some Moo on repeat, but I do watch them wearing my Moo. When you wear a Moo, you ain't got nothing on, because you be like, oh my God, it's comfortable. That's my Moo. So this is how I watch my shows. And because it's so comfortable to watch these type of shows, that's what I titled this, my Moo review. So also what I do is that if I don't look at the camera, I have my notebook here, because Auntie's brain is getting a little, I'm in a play. If you don't know, I'm an actress as well. I do theater here in my city. So my show opens this coming weekend. So this week is going to be a really tight and busy week. So you might get a video a little later, but with this particular series, this is only going to be on the weekend. So thank God for that. But anyway, Blind Rage, episode number 10 for Beauty in Black, made by Mr. Tyler Perry, that you can see it on Netflix. They already have dropped the last 8, so I'm just going to do one at a time. I ain't looking at nobody else's stuff. I'm just looking at mine whenever I look at the show. So here we go. We see Kimmie. You remember Kimmie? She's a stripper from the last season. She's a stripper. We find out that the guy that she was working for was trying to pay a debt off, and so she seemed to be really innocent and really cool in the first season. This episode was all right, but I wasn't expecting it to end the way it did. I mean, I wasn't expecting her personality to change as much as it did, but it was a good, exciting episode to see. So we see Kimmie in the car. Remember, she hit Body. Body was that old crazy ass girl, one of the main strippers there, who always bullied her and always talking all this shit against Kimmie. And so she pulls off. So Mallory and Roy show up at this burning car. Remember Charles? We thought Charles was in the burning car because he was passed out at the club, because this guy, this sexy stripper that he met, had taken his keys, his wallet, his watch, and stole his car, that really nice yellow, I think it was a yellow car that he had. So they think Charles was in the car because it was also shot up. It was burned up and shot up because I think it got into an accident. So we see Norman. Norman is the mean brother. That's Mr. Lawson. I can't think of his first name, but he's Beyonce's mama ex-husband, Mr. Richard Lawson. He's playing mean ass Norman. He's the older brother, a baby brother. I don't know. He's more of the chemist of the company, the hair company. So we see Norman looking at his beautiful picture of his dead wife. Remember, we never really saw her face. She was beautiful. He said that she was the only person that he ever loved. He had all this family here. Nobody loved him the way she did. She was gorgeous. I wish that we would have had a chance to see her because her face was all messed up. Because remember in part one or season half of part one, she was jogging and somebody hit her while she was jogging and they ran the back over her. They fucked her up, and we find out we know who it is. But Norman, I'm sorry, Norman doesn't know who it is, but we know it's Mallory. Mallory hit her. So Mallory is another girl, but I'll tell you about her later. So we see Norman looking at the beautiful picture of his dead wife, and Harold, who was like a lawyer who's helping them with this whole money laundering scheme. He's like an attorney. He calls and tells Norman that Horace, who's pretty much the star of this show, he is the older gentleman that Kimmie was connected with last year, and he liked to look at men, young guys. He was had a little fancy toward Angel's like this Hispanic guy, and Horace with his old ass, he be looking at the old, the young, little gay men. He likes to look. Maybe you can touch me a little bit. Let me touch you, but that's it. I'm just curious. I'm just open because he was married. So Norman tells Harold that you need to see him, and Harold asks Norman, "Well, what if I'm walking to a trap?" And Norman's like, "So I don't know." And Harold asks him, "Well, what's wrong with you?" Norman tells him his brother and his sons killed my wife, and so Harold was like, "What?" So Norman tells Harold what he thinks happened, and he says they ran over her, and then they went to the hospital to finish her off. Now it wasn't those brothers didn't do that. It was well, maybe somebody did. I can't remember. It was Jules. Jules had somebody to go over there and finish the wife off because I think they were come. No, I think it was Mallory who had somebody go over there, or she did it to finish her off because I think they were getting close to find out who killed her. So they were going to transport her body from one hospital to a more, hands-on, rich type of facility so she can get and feel better. But that never happened because she never made it. So Norman with his crazy ass was like, no, what normal Norman tells Harold, why do you think that they did that? And so Harold was like, do you really know how they did it? And Norman was like, his crazy ass, you're such a weak man. You need to ask him why. Go see him. They just went back and forth about whether or not Harold should go see him. And Harold is like, I don't know, maybe they should give him some light sentences, and I just was only helping a little bit. I didn't do a lot when it came to the clubs. And Norman's like, shut the fuck up. Hell, you knew that you was doing money laundering and you was building up your retirement on the backs of those strippers and those other women at that damn club. You know what the fuck you was doing. So shut the fuck up. So Harold was like, don't say that on this phone. I don't know if he was afraid that the phone was bugged. So Harold is asking Norman, what do I do, man? Norman says, nigga, go see him. And Harold was like, are you sure? Norman was like, shit, fuck him. See, he was like, I would have hung up on him too. It's like Harold was getting on my nerves asking him, are you sure I should go see him? What do you think you want to talk? Just hang up the phone. You don't know until you know. Go see the man. So Harold was on the phone. I mean, he was sweating up a storm. He was scared. I'm like, get up and go see that man, like he said. Damn. So next we see the burned up car, and Horace shows up, asks the cops, is that his son? And they pretty much say, yeah. And Horace calls a meeting for everybody in the family to come right now. Next scene, we see Miss Debbie Morgan, baby, Miss Dimples, Debbie Morgan with her great coiffure. I didn't know it was her. We see the beautiful woman backside, like the back part of her. She riding this guy, honey, just on top of him, just and they playing some sexy music, and it's her, Miss Olivia, baby, Miss Olivia, just got off this young dude, and he young. He looked like he was about my son's age, and of course she's in her look like 70, 60s. This boy looked like he was ever been his mid-20s, and she was riding the shit out of him. So she gets off, and he's like, he's exhausted. She said, she said, motherfucker, you can't keep up. Young blood was breathing all hard and shit. And he was like, "That's right." So she tells him, "Give me my damn cigarette." So she puffs up a cigarette. So she asked him something about that. She at okay. Every time I get on this camera, somebody's doing something outside. So she asked him something, and he said that they never came to the warehouse. I don't know what that was about. So he said that he feels like they have money too. So I think that they had this warehouse. It probably is about the chemicals and the stuff because they had in the first half of the episode of the year, they're having a lawsuit that's going against their particular hair company because it's perm, and you have some people who are complaining about the chemicals in the perm that is making people have brain cancer or some type of cancer. So she says that some reptile motherfucker tried to take it all away from her, talking about her husband. Her and Horace used to be married, and she wants everything from his everything his ass has. So she wants the company. So more than that stipend that he gives her. So I guess he gives her like a stipend or some type of partial money to keep her satisfied. So Young Buck tells her that he ain't that you ain't living too bad, you ain't living too shabby. She looked at him like, "Nigga, what you say? Who asked for your fucking opinion?" So Tony, who's the young guy, she tells him that all she wants is if he dies that her sons get it because she wants Horace to be dead. Also, side note, Horace has cancer or he has some type of incurable disease and nobody knows but Kimmie, I think. I think she's the only one who knows. So she goes on to tell some story about the company and how smart Horace and Norman's dad was. And so she said, there's too many rules and she don't want to explain it. So Tony looks at her and says, "All I know, baby, all I know is that I love you." And she gives him a stare, was like, "You too cute." Really heartless. She didn't even say I love you too. And so she says, love these pockets. And he said, "I love everything about you." And then she says, "You leave here and say that to that damn 20-year-old." He says, these young bitches never could be you." She said, "You damn right." "You better remember that." And he says that he will. So she gets a call, and this Mallory calling her at 5 o'clock in the morning. And Mallory tells her about the accident and asks about Charles. And she tells Olivia that she needs to come home over to the house because Horace is calling a family meeting. Olivia thinks that Norman did it. She's like, "I told that nigga not to go home." She said that all last season. "I told him." So next we see fine as Varney. That's all that 6'5" chocolateness. Mm, mm, mm. We see Varney and Olivia. I mean, and Mallory tells Varney that Charles was in a car accident. And he's breathing hard, and he runs out of the house to meet the Bellaries at their house, which is Horace's house. So we see Kimmie, and she tells Angel that they have her sis, and we trying to find her sister. So she tells Angel to call Jules. The guy who left them is the one in that car that blew up. So it was, I guess they had set up some type of robbery, and the guy who left them, he was working with them at the same time trying to steal stuff from Charles. That guy was doing too much. It was time for him to go. So we then see Jules asking for evidence at the scene because remember, Jules is a dirty ass cop. There are bullet holes in the car, and they have his watch, and it says it's a wristwatch that's from Varney. It etched his name in there to give to Charles. So Varney shows up really fine and clean in a suit. Remember, he's a lawyer, and he tells Jules that he had spoke to Charles the day before, and Jules calls Norman to ask if he killed Charles because Norman is the brother. Horace and Norman are brothers, and they go back and forth about what happened. And Norman tells Jules that Horace is not the one you need to worry about. It's Olivia that you need to worry about because they didn't want to tell this news to Horace or give more details. So Jules says she stay in church. He says there's no amount of church to forgive the sins that woman continues to commit. She does commit a lot of sins, but she have her ass in church. So Jules is like, "Why didn't I know about this?" And Norman is like, "It's a need to know basis." And Norman says, "I fried that fucking car and watched it burn." Jules tells him that he needs to be there. Norman's like, "I don't give a fuck." And Jules tells him, "You need to relax, man. Relax." Norman tells him that Horace called Harold to come over to the house, and Jules is like, why? Norman thinks that he knows everything about the money laundering through the strip club. So Jules calls Harold that fat motherfucker. Jules just wants someone to pay for killing his wife. I'm sorry, Norman just wants somebody to pay for killing his wife. We all know, again, it's Mallory. Mallory did that shit. So we see Kimmie and Angel who have car issues, and Angel calls her mammy, and she asks what happened to her sister, and Kimmie's mom tells her that did you he touch her? Tell me if he touched her. And she says no, he didn't touch her. She just decided to leave, and so Mama tells Kimmie that her man is good to me like he was good to y'all, and Kimmie says I'm going to kill his ass. And we find out that Mama got some money for sis, for baby sis, because remember sis was kidnapped by body in them earlier to be taken into custody because they want her to take the place of Kimmie because Kimmie used to strip. Now they want Sylvie, who's baby sis. So she knows that Kimmie ain't no nurse because Kimmie used to lie to her mom and talking about she was in nursing school, and so that's the reason why we don't really. She works at night. Kimmie. So she tells her mama says, girl, you ain't no nurse, you a dancer at a strip club. So Angel and Kimmie finally leave so that they can go get another car because the other car broke down on them and just ran hot. So we see Horace at the house and his butler gives him a drink. There's a knock on the door and we see Mallory and Roy. They're married. Mallory and Roy act like more brother and sister to me, but they're husband and wife. They're already there. So Jules and Varney shows up together, and Horace asks Jules what did he find, and Jules confirms that it was him. It was actually Charles in the car that got burned. And they think it was an ambush. Horace feels that it was Norman who might have ambushed him because it was the same road that his wife was on when she was hit by that car. And Horace asks where was Norman's wife moved to, and Jules tells him, yeah, she we wanted to move her, we had a plan, but she died before she can reach the facility. So Olivia comes in and and she saw the car. It was littered up in bullets and it's been lit up, but her hair looked good. I want that wig. I mean, I used to do gray hair every now and then. It is cute, it's sexy. But she wearing that. I mean, I love my mohawk now. Don't get it twisted. I love my mohawk. But that girl, that when I see her hair, I'm like, I miss my silver. I miss my silver hair. Excuse me if I'm, messing with little microphone way too much. I gotta get used to talking to the mic. So, yeah, Harris beat. Horace is like, how do you know this about the car being littered in bullets? That's what Olivia said. And she said, you know that I have my sources. They think that Norman had shot him. So Olivia is like, I told Charles again. I told that nigga not to go home. And Horace asked Olivia, do you know about this? And Olivia's like, don't act like you didn't know about your brother. And Mallory is like, look, I don't understand. And then Olivia was like, uh, your uncle is a monster. And Mallory is like, are you sure that he done this? Oh, and Olivia's like, yes, I know he did. Then Jules says like, look, we don't really know that. Olivia's like, are you going to tell me something different, Jules? No, 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 because you got no fucking balls. And Jules is like, Olivia, please. And so she was just trying to go to God. She said, I was trying my hard to go to God and pray, but y'all niggas just don't want, y'all just want to keep me in a low place. And I hate it. I was like, girl, no, you wasn't, girl. So Horace is like, stop it with your self-righteous bullshit. She said, self-righteous? Horace is like, look, not here. She's like, this used to be my house. And he says, Horace says, not anymore. Nor would it ever be your house anymore, heifer. So Mallory was like, come on, y'all, stop it, stop it. Both of them reminds them. She said, reminds them that Charles is dead. And so Olivia said he should have gone home. He should not have gone home. And Horace is like, he never listened to your ass anyway. So Mallory shuts it down. So Horace asks Jules to find Norman and bring him here. And Olivia's like, that nigga ain't coming. And Horace like, one way or the other, he's going to answer to this. And Olivia's like, he ain't coming. You bring him here, Horace says, half dead if you want to. Mallory's like, no, listen, let me talk to him. I'll find out. And Horace is like, no, this is not the time to be pleasant. He killed my son. This is fucking war. It's like, ooh. Make me nervous. So Horace tells Jules to go, and Mama looking at Roy like he's a piece of shit. So Olivia was like, "Boy, just stop." And so he tells her that you was hoping that it was me, huh? And Olivia tells him, "Well, you just give it a rest." He said, "You thought it was me, right?" Horace says, "Yeah, yeah, that would be nice." I forgot how much they hated that boy. They both of them hated him. I wrote that before I looked at the next scene, but I forgot that they hate that boy so much. So Roy tells Olivia and Horace that I never got shit from y'all. Y'all didn't give shit about me at all. Anyway, Horace is like calls him a you selfish mother and tells him that we gave you everything. And Roy says, I don't mean that. I would have loved some love or a hug or every now and then. And push Paul's side note, a lot of black parents back then, they didn't know how to show no love or hugging. Like I didn't get hugs a lot from my mom. We more so talked more at the end of her life as far as love, and even while she was passing away and transitioning, that was the most I probably told her that I loved her, and she was able to tell me the same. But for some reason, a lot of older parents, they didn't really tell kids like that they loved them or they wanted hugs. They knew that you were proud of them. You should know that I love you. You got to say it, but if you're a parent now, yeah, you better tell your child that you love them. You better do it, or you get blamed for the shit that they cause to the world for some reason. My mama never told me that they love me, so I went and did the boo boom bow. Like, yeah, you'll get blamed. Your ass will be tossed in jail. So tell your kids that you love them. Okay, all right. Press play. Horace calls Roy a selfish mother. Okay, I said that. So Roy's okay. So Roy tells Olivia that she was just too busy giving Charles all that shit, and Roy tells Horace now he can get all of Charles's shares to the company. However, you can't get it because Charles was murdered, and you both fucking sucked as parents. Roy tells that to Horace. So Olivia picks up a knife. I don't know where the knife came from because I swear they was in the living room. Was was Horace eating an apple or something? It just like the knife was just sitting there. Maybe it was a letter opener. I don't know. But she picks up this knife, or maybe scissors, and she whirls it at Roy, and he ducks, and it sticks in the painting behind his head. And he ducks, and it just stays there like you Circus of the Stars. And she said, "I missed on purpose, but you keep fucking with me, I won't miss again." I was like, God, dog it. You want two dead sons? My goodness. So Roy and Mallory leave. Roy goes outside to take a smoke. And Roy tells Mallory, look, don't come up out here. Because again, everybody hates Roy. Like everybody hates him. He's just an asshole. So Mallory comes out there to try to be the very supporting wife. And he's like, look, my brother is dead. You don't give a fuck. You really do care. She said, he was like, yeah, I care, but you don't need to be out here. And he was like, don't start with me. Sometimes you're a fucking bitch. And then Mallory tells him that this means that his shares will go to him. The language says that it'll be split if there's no murder by another family, but they think that Norman did it, so he doesn't think that he'll get anything. But Mallory is like, look, you don't know that yet. You don't know if a family member killed him or not. You don't know, but they don't know it. And so Roy tells her, just get the fuck away from me. She says, okay, I am. I know you're in your feelings right now, but I got this. I want you to tell you I got this. She says, I'm going to give you a really, really juicy, big, loving hug right now because I know that your parents are looking and you're going to enjoy every minute of it. And he's like, I don't care. He claims he don't, want the shares and he don't care about it. She's like, yes, you do. You want them shares. You have no skills. You have no talent and you need that money. He's like, no, you need the money. She said, no, you need the money, but they both need the money. So she hugs him because she says that he knows that her parents is looking. She kisses him and says, "Oh, I don't love you so much." Child. So instead of her saying, "I love you so much," she says, "I don't love you so much." So next we see Angel and Kimmie at the chop shop to get a car, and Kimmie keeps calling her sis phone to see where she is, and of course Sylvia's not picking up. So Rain calls. Rain is the other stripper who got the booty shots from Dagger, who was T.S. Madison. Dagger, so she's still trying to heal, and Horace was the one who moved her from that trash ass hospital to a more private facility so she can get more care and healing for her body. So Rain calls her to check up on Kimmie, and Kimmie tells her that she killed Body. She's like, "What, girl? You killed Body?" She's like, yeah, and I need to find my fucking sister. She just goes on, I'm gonna go over to Horace's house, that old motherfucker at the club, because he knows something. She's like, no, girl, don't go to his house. I'm going. Don't go, girl. Okay, I know where Delinda lives. Delinda was the club owner. Delinda and Body hung together. She was a heavy set club owner. So she was like, okay, look, if you just don't go to that man's house, then I will give you Delinda's address. Well, give me her address. Are you going to the house? Just give me the address. So they finally come to a end about getting Delinda's address. So apparently Kimmie has a huge anger problem. And that didn't read too well in the first season. It's like when we first met Kimmie, she was there looking at overseeing like a it was like a conference, and Mallory was there talking about their hair products. I thought that Kimmie was there because she wanted to start a haircut business or something, but it just changed so suddenly. It was like she has a very angelic, innocent energy, like she never does any wrong. But we do find out, that her stepfather raped her and molested. I said I was going to use that word. I already said it. Did that to her, and so she gets really, really triggered. So apparently, like I said, she has a anger problem, and I just don't remember seeing that in part one. I really don't. So we see Varney and Mallory in the kitchen talking, and he's crying. He's really upset about Charles's passing because in the first half, Charles and Varney were lovers. Although Charles was fucking everybody he could get his teeth in. But Varney, I think he had a really special relationship with Varney. So he feels that he needs to be there. Mallory tells him that Charles is going to need a suit for the funeral. He's like, man, that's to help keep him busy because he's just around there. You can tell he's sulking. He's really upset. So we see Varney go to Charles's beautiful apartment. I mean, it's like every window in the world there. It's gorgeous. His house. So we see him, slowly coming in, and he's very clearly devastated. So he's sitting on the couch, and so we see like a side view of Varney on the couch, and we see the shadow walking in the background. And then the shadow comes back, and then it comes to the living room, and so Varney is devastated, and he's sitting there, and so the shadow comes to the living room. It's fucking Charles. So Varney's like, nigga, we thought your ass was dead. He tells him about, he said, man, me? No, I'm here. He said, what, your car? He's like, man, some stripper bitch that I found at the club. They drugged me, took my car, my keys, my watch, and my wallet. So Varney tells him that, man, your car is burned up. So Varney tells Charles that he must have, died in that burned up car. So he tells him, Charles is like, my car is gone? And Varney was like, yeah, nigga, you hear what I said? A man died? Charles is like, man, fuck that motherfucker. He stole my car. But he was cute though. And so Varney was like, what you say? What really happened? Charles is my dude. I like Charles. Charles is fun as hell. He's really fun. He's a comedic part. We need somebody to give that comedic part because everything else is so serious. Delinda was pretty funny too, but she was like the typical funny. Charles, his humor is dark, but it's smart ass, and I love it. So he was like, yeah, he was cute. So Charles was like, where was it? He was like on the private road, Barney tells him. And so Charles was like, I need to cancel my credit cards because he stole them too. Barney was like, man, this is serious, man. It's like, man, he had my address. He got his ass blown up. So Varney tells him that he didn't just blow up, there was multiple shots in that car. And so Charles was like, man, I was targeted. And Varney was like, yeah. So he was like, man, my mom was right. So, so he was like, good for his ass. Then he does a prayer. Thank you, sexy stripper man. So Varney was like, man, this is serious. You just sitting here playing. So again, Charles is like, man, I know this is serious. My mom was right about my uncle. So Varney feels like he's in a twilight zone. So Charles says, I told you that my family was fucked up. So Varney tells him that he needs to call his family because they're all upset. And Charles is like, whoa, 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 wait, 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 wait. They upset because of me dying? Nigga, that's some bullshit. I don't believe that shit. Varney was like, it's true. Your family loves you. And he said they talk about love for a bit. They talk about love for a little bit, and then Varney wants to call them, and Charles is like, If you think that they're suffering, why not let them suffer a little while longer, okay? So Varney was like, "Man, you are totally insane," and he doesn't even call them yet. He don't call them yet. So we see Kimmie, honey. This is the climactic scene. We see Kimmie and Angel pull up at Delinda's house because remember, Rain had given them Delinda's address, and Kimmie got this big ass pow pow. It's about as big as my arm. So she busts through there like kick the damn. I'm like, girl, don't you think you're going to jail for that? But like Rain said, she has an anger problem. So we see her bust through there, through through Delinda's front door, and Delinda was like, "Oh shit!" And she starts to haul ass. So what's her name? Kimmie shoots. I'm gonna say it. Shoots the light, and then she shoots something else on the wall. And Kimmie does this twirl, this Wonder Woman twirl, and took a chair and bust Delinda on her back and says, "I'm not gonna ask you fucking ass again. Where the fuck is my sister?" That's all she was saying the whole time. Where the fuck is my sister? And they get into this little fight, and she presses her against the wall, and the gun drops. And Angel breaks up the fight, and they ask her where she is, and Delinda says, "Jules is gonna kill y'all ass when he finds y'all. You know where she's at? She is in hell." So Delinda starts talking all this shit, trying to get in Kimmie's head, like, "Where were you when your sister was getting raped? Who you trying to be?" When she said, "You Wonder Woman, mother, wanna be motherfucker." Oh, so that's exactly what I thought about when when Kimmie twirled. I was like, "Where'd that come from?" So Angel demands, like, "Look, where is she? Where is she?" And Delinda, with her mean ass, she says she's getting fucked by a bunch of truck drivers. And then she was talking all this shit, and then Kimmie picked up the gun, and she was like, and she said, "Bow!" Blew her all right here. That bitch fell against the wall, and they bounced. And they left looking for Miss Sylvie. And that was the end of the second half of the half, whatever this season is, of Beauty and Black. To me, it was good. I mean, people have their ways about this show, but I like the writing so far. We'll see how the other episodes run. I'm not doing no binge watching, like I said at the beginning. I'm just gonna do 9 weeks of 9 episodes because I already do another show that I do daily, almost daily. So I can't take on but so much. But I had a good time watching this episode. I really did. It was fun, especially at the end. There was a lot going on. I'm just really surprised at Kimmie. I really was not expecting her to have that type of anger problem. That was big. That girl was like Wonder Woman, and like she was damn She Man, and just doing a lot. And I was like, okay, don't piss Kimmie off. So thank you so much for coming by. Thank you for coming to my channel for this Mumu review for Beauty and Black. I will be back next week with episode number 10. And let me get up out of here and edit this video. Y'all be good. Come back next week for more, because I'm sure it's going to, as they say in church, the realm goes higher and higher. Oh, Tyler, you know about that. All right. Bye, y'all.